they maintain proper etiquette. Those who are not so mature in devotional service, they're not very good in their etiquette. Once I was serving some guests who had actually come, and they were all Maharajas and proper disciples, etc. So we were serving, and then one proper disciple, he's very senior disciple, Nareshwar Prabhu, he was sitting with Radhanath Maharaj, and both of them were having prasad and we were serving. So when I went to serve, I asked, can I serve? I was having something, and then I asked, can I serve? Then Nareshwar Prabhu looked at me and then he said, go keep that bucket there and stand outside. You don't know how to serve. So I said, okay. Then I went, I kept the bucket by the side, and then I asked another devotee. I asked him that what mistake I made. Then he asked me, what did you do? I took the thing and then I wanted to serve, that I want to ask that whether they want this dish or not. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to ask that can I serve or not. He said, this is stupid. You're not supposed to ask. You should just serve. If they want, they don't want, they will tell we don't want. He said, you're not supposed to disturb them by asking. The proper etiquette of serving is that the person who is serving should be non-existent. That's the proper etiquette of serving. That he should not try to make his presence felt. Oh, I am serving, look at me. That's not the etiquette to serve. You should just serve, and if they don't want, they will say no. So then I took the bucket again, because now I know what to do. So I took the bucket again, and then I was trying to serve the same way. And then I found that it works very nicely. When people don't want, they just say no. We don't have to ask them. We just go to try to serve them. And if they don't want, they say no. So then when I went for the second time to serve them like that, then Nareshwar Prabhu saw me, and then I saw what I was doing, then he smiled. Fine. Then he understood that, okay, now I understood how to serve. So it's very important to understand etiquettes, that how to serve, how to honor prasad, how to deal with devotees. That if one is a mature devotee, then their etiquettes are very high standard. And it's very pleasing. It's very, very pleasing when such a this thing is there.
That like from the Brahmavadi in etiquette, it comes from because they don't relate, or
they don't relate because they think person is Maya. Okay. So then they have no understanding of that fine etiquettes of dealing with the person.
Okay.
No, it is said in the previous part that the doorkeepers actually were there to see who comes or not comes. But then Prabhupada said it is not required, because unless someone is sent person, devotee of the Lord, he anyway cannot come.
Yeah, if you just wait, then things will get more and more clear. Right now, Prabhupada is saying that what doorkeeper did is wrong. Now he is going to say that.
No, I am asking, Prabhupada is saying there is no use of doorkeepers in my.
No, but it's not that that's why they are there. If there's no use, why they are there? There is some use is there. But right now he is going in a certain direction, so Prabhupada is also playing with the direction. Now after some time then he's going to change. Okay.
Oh, this is only a question.
The principle of creation is that the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, is by nature joyful, and he becomes many in order to enhance his transcendental joy. Living entities like ourselves, being part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, are meant to satisfy the senses of the Lord. The entire kingdom of God is such a completely harmonious unit that there is no possibility of enmity. Everything there is absolute, just as there are many physiological constructions within the body, yet they work in one order for the satisfaction of the stomach. And just as in a machine there are hundreds and thousands of parts, yet they run in harmony to fulfill the function of the machine. In the Vaikuntha planets, the Lord is perfect, and the inhabitants also perfectly engage in the service of the Lord. The Mayavadi philosophers, the impersonalists, interpret this verse of Srimad Bhagavatam to mean that the small sky and the big sky are one, but this idea cannot stand. The example of the big sky and the small skies is also applicable within a person's body. The big sky is the body itself, and the intestines and other parts of the body occupy the small sky. Each and every part of the body has individuality, even though occupying a small part of the total body. Similarly, the whole creation is the body of the Supreme Lord. And we created beings, or anything that is created, are but a small part of that body. The parts of the body are never equal to the whole. This is never possible. According to the Mayavadi philosophers, the living entity in illusion considers himself part and parcel, although he is actually one and the same as the Supreme Whole. This theory is not valid. The oneness of the whole and the part is in their quality. The qualitative oneness of the small and the large portions of the sky does not imply that the small sky becomes the big sky. Maya means disharmony between the living entities and the Supreme Lord, and Vaikuntha means harmony between them. Actually, all living entities are provided for and maintained by the Lord, because He is the supreme living entity. But foolish creatures, although actually under the control of the supreme living entity, defy His existence, and that state is called Maya. Sometimes they deny that there is such a being as God. They say everything is void, and sometimes they deny Him in a different way. There may be a God, but He has no form. Both these conceptions arise from the rebellious condition of the living entity. As long as this rebellious condition prevails, the material world will continue in disharmony. Harmony or disharmony is realized because of the law and order of a particular place. If the same principles can be adopted here, wholly or partially, then it is also Vaikuntha. So it is with any society such as the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. If the members of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, putting faith in Krishna as the center, live in harmony according to the order and principles of Bhagavad Gita, then they are living in Vaikuntha, not in this material world.
So, material world is a place of disharmony, and spiritual world is a place of harmony. Because in the material world, there is this question of proprietorship. And due to this question of proprietorship, there is this question of competition. And due to this question of competition and proprietorship, there is also fear. And due to this fear, there is disharmony. It is the very nature of the material world. That everyone wants to be a proprietor, everyone wants to be an enjoyer, and everyone wants to be a well-wisher. He wants to be the bhokta, he wants to be the Ishvara, and he wants to be the Sugrit. He wants to be these three things. So therefore, there is no peace in this material world. So there is disharmony in this material world. But in the spiritual world, everyone is trying to satisfy Krishna, or everyone is trying to satisfy Narayana, instead of everyone trying to satisfy himself. In the material world, everyone is trying to satisfy himself. Now I am trying to satisfy myself, you are trying to satisfy yourself, and you are expecting that I should also satisfy you, but I am expecting that you should satisfy me. Naturally there is disharmony. You understand? Naturally there is disharmony. But in the spiritual world, everyone is looking at Vishnu or Krishna or Narayana, and everyone is trying to satisfy Narayana. So therefore, there is harmony in intention, and there is also harmony in operation. It's not that I am trying to independently satisfy Narayana. I am trying to satisfy Narayana along with everybody else. So I should act in such a way that the overall result satisfies Narayana. It's not only that my activity satisfies Narayana, but the overall resultant activity also satisfies Narayana. You understand? When we say that everyone is acting to satisfy Narayana, then necessarily everybody should act as one unit with full understanding. It's not that I only exist and I try to satisfy Narayana. This is Kanishta mentality. I exist and I try to satisfy Guru. The rest of all other fellows, let them go to hell. So then there is disharmony. There is disharmony when we don't understand that everyone should satisfy Narayana. Not only that I should satisfy Narayana, everyone should satisfy Narayana. So I should not only satisfy Narayana myself, but I should also facilitate everyone to satisfy Narayana. It's not that when the spiritual master comes, I should make sure that I stand near him and get all the photographs done and put it on the Facebook to show that I am the greatest servant of the spiritual master, and then make sure that nobody comes near him. This is nonsense. Satisfying the spiritual master means not only that I serve the spiritual master, but I also create opportunity for everybody to serve the spiritual master. Sometimes devotees are like that. Like yesterday in our class, Vignavanasha Narasimha Maharaj was saying that we are talking about the importance of Vapu Seva and Vani Seva. We are having some discussion about that. And during that time, he was actually saying that how that during Prabhupada's time, when Prabhupada visits a temple, suddenly so many people will come and then they will all dance, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada. And when Prabhupada is gone, then many of them are not seen at all. Many of them are not seen at all. They are not studying their service. They are not studying their service. They are not attached to Prabhupada's instruction. They are simply attached to being with Prabhupada. Then he was comparing, he was giving the example of, Prabhupada gave the example of the association of the king with the mosquito. The mosquito is sitting on the lap of the king and he is very closely associated with the king, but actually he is drinking his blood. So, the point is that harmony means to understand that I should do my service and I should facilitate everybody else to do the service. That's why Prabhupada said that my love for you will be shown by how you cooperate with each other after I leave. Because that is spiritual world. That is spiritual world. Spiritual world is not about me doing my service and let everybody go to hell. Spiritual world is about me doing my service and then taking everybody else along and facilitating everybody to do their service. Nikunja yuno ratikeli siddhai yayali bhiyuktir apekshaniya tatratidakshat ativallabhasyat vande guru sri charanaravindam. He is very expert. The spiritual master is very expert in arranging for the pastimes of Sri Radha and Krishna. And how he is doing it? He is not doing it alone. He is not throwing away everybody. He is taking everybody else along and everybody is working together. Everybody is working together. So therefore, spiritual world means harmony and material world means disharmony. So when the same mentality of the material world, when a devotee brings it into service with the bodily conception of life, thinking that I should be recognized as quote unquote better devotee than anybody else. I am quote unquote so and so. I want to be quote unquote so and so. When a person brings that mentality which comes from bodily conception of life, where I, me and mine are the center, when he brings the same mentality into the institution, then there is disharmony. And what are some examples of disharmony in the institution? What are some examples of disharmony? Or what are some examples which we encounter in the institution? Examples of disharmony?
Conflicts over projects.
Conflicts or projects, okay?
You want example in ISKCON?
Yeah.
Oh,
So many.
Guru issue.
Guru Groupism. Guru Groupism. This is a typical example of disharmony within ISKCON. My Guru is great, your Guru is nonsense. My Guru is Vaikuntha man, your Guru is Buloka man. Buloka man. My Guru is Vaikuntha man, your Guru is Buloka man. My Guru is strict follower of Prabhupada, your Guru is eyewash follower of Prabhupada. My Guru is like this, your Guru is like this. Guru Groupism. Identifying in the name of Guru. This is one cause of harmony. Then, what are other cause of harmony?
Focusing on the details rather than the principles.
You have to explain this.
Because even to how to follow a specific rule or a principle, people look at the details so scrutinized.
Can you give an example so that we can understand better?
This is about one Maharaj. He is very particular about specific tune that only Prabhupada's tune. No other Hare Krishna tune. This is a detail I feel that there can be many melodies in which you can sing any Hare Krishna, but it has to be only Prabhupada tune.
Mm.
And it is written on the board once that Maharaj came to our temple, only Prabhupada tune. It was written so that all the devotees were aware and not to displease him.
Okay, that's good. That's a good consciousness of harmony. That he likes Prabhupada tune, then everybody just sings Prabhupada tune.
Yeah, just
And then
because
everybody is happy with
yes.
that.
That's harmony, na? How disharmony?
Yeah, but then the idea that only Prabhupada tune, not accommodating other
He
tune.
could have made
But
it
Prabhupada
as-
also said that Krishna Kirtan should be simple, so
Yeah.
everybody should follow. There are examples when Prabhupada actually stopped, even in Mayapur it happened, that it's a Prabhupada disciple known to be a very good singer. Prabhupada actually stopped him from singing and then asked somebody else to lead the Kirtan, who actually doesn't even keep the beat. So Prabhupada actually was not so much, he himself is a very expert singer, but he also understood that, the melody should be simple so that everybody can follow.
Yes.
Sometimes, the melody is so complicated that you get lost in the melody and then you're not able to focus on the mantra. So some things, yeah.
Some projects like somebody says my temple construction is good, somebody like book this one only, book this one, somebody like preaching only, somebody like no Namhanta preaching is good, somebody like
No, that's okay, because even Prabhupada also said that this is most, there's a whole list of Prabhupada said this is the most important. Like for example, Prabhupada said Gurukula project is the most important project in ISKCON. Then Prabhupada also said good book distribution is the most important. How do you understand? That means all these things are most important.
Yes.
It's not that one is most important, other one is not most important. You understand that all these things are most important. So some people get dedicated to each of them and then that's fine. But when you start undermining another project in order to glorify your project, then it becomes disharmony. You understand? Like one may say that my life is meant for preaching. Okay? But if you start saying, oh, these book distributors, they are wasting time, or these temple builders, they are wasting time, everybody should only preach, then it becomes disharmony.
Oh. So actually in the
Putting one's life into one project itself is not a problem. They may say, oh, Prabhupada said this is the most important project, I want to dedicate my life to this project. That's not disharmony, because that's actually Prabhupada said. Okay? But when you start considering other people's contribution as insignificant, then that becomes disharmony. You understand?
Yeah, I said that only.
Yeah. That becomes disharmony. But giving importance to a certain project, everybody has to choose their battle. Like I chose to teach. Like, there's so many things we could do within not that everybody can do everything. But I chose teaching line. I chose to work with devotees. I don't do so much of preaching. Hardly any person has got initiated, because I preach to someone else. You don't find anybody, saying that, oh, I got initiated because Harry was preaching to me. Nothing like that. Hardly any person, maybe one or two. But I chose to work with devotees. I made a conscious choice that I will just work with devotees. I will just teach. I will teach Bhagavatam. I will teach Bhagavad Gita. I made a conscious choice. So everybody has to choose their battle. That is okay. But if I start saying, oh, I am the one who is actually, these guys, preachers, what kind of people they bring to the movement, that is disharmony. Well, I exist because somebody is preaching. If somebody is not preaching and making devotees, then my service is finished.
Yeah.
So my service is there because other people are serving, because there are temples, because there are preachers, because they are risking their life and then going and preaching, they are making devotees, they are giving them the taste for Prabhupada books. So when everybody is cooked, we are only coming and putting the salt. So you can't say that, oh, I am the one put the So therefore, everyone should have respect, everyone should choose their battle, but everyone should have respect for other person's service. Like some people say, oh, managers in ISKCON, like horrible people. I don't know how these people become devotees also. So that's not correct. Like everyone should have appreciation for everybody. So that's harmony. When we don't have that appreciation, that becomes disharmony.
Even with bridge preaching, this style of bridge preaching is banned. they look down. But they're making so many devotees and nice, I mean, because you have to go to that level and preach. Especially in the US, you have to go through yoga,
Whatever it is.
om. And I also, initially I was
But
like
only
shocked.
thing is, you should just not keep them in the bridge.
Yeah, you bring them.
you should make them cross the bridge. That's the only thing.
Yes, yes.
Like sometimes what happens that like one of very expert bridge preachers actually made this comment. He said that sometimes the bridge is so long and it looks like that these people never cross the bridge.
Yeah.
That also we should just take care.
Yeah.
So everything has its advantage, everything has its disadvantage. Ultimately, everything should be utilized in very intelligent way, and we should utilize everything in such a way that finally people become Krishna conscious.
Yes.
As long as we are doing that, everything is alright. Like we do yoga preaching, okay. But at some point, they will read Prabhupada books, and Prabhupada will say that doing yoga for health is nonsense.
Then they get bewildered and say, oh, what they taught till now is nonsense.
No. At that time, we should actually nicely tell them, see, if I had not taught yoga, you would not have read this book.
Yeah.
And you would not have understood the reality of what you want. So in order to make you understand the reality of what you want, I have to go your way. But this is reality, you please understand.
Yeah, by that time relationship has been
Yeah, that relationship has to be built, and then they have to be brought to Krishna consciousness. When you start saying, no, don't worry about what Prabhupada is saying, yoga is, then it becomes a problem. You see, that's where it becomes a problem. Okay. So everything, that's what we are studying, this topic of harmony and disharmony, that everyone should try to please Krishna, or everyone should try to please the Acharya. And in the process, not only that we should please them, we should also facilitate everyone to please. And we should also have good respect for everyone who is trying to please the Acharya in their own way. They may be expert, they may not be expert, but we should have good respect for everybody's contribution. Like in Ramayana, there is this story of the monkeys throwing big stone and the squirrels throwing some small dust into the ocean. There's a small squirrel. It was throwing some small dust into the ocean. And then all the monkeys were laughing. They're saying, oh, we are throwing mountains, we are throwing big stones. This squirrel, you see, is just throwing some small dust. But Lord Ram recognized the contribution of the squirrel. And the Lord Ram took the squirrel in his hand, and then he was putting his hand on the squirrel and he was telling, oh, very good, you are doing nice service. So maybe someone is turning mountains, or somebody is throwing dust. There should be mutual respect for each other. That's what this whole topic is about, harmony and disharmony. Okay, somehow we seem to have lost the highlights. We'll go to the
84
next.
now.
Huh?
84.
Yeah.
84. 83 finished.
So like one senior devotee
Yeah.
was telling Prabhupada said if book distribution not happening, that is main, we can close temples. But if book distribution not happening, temple is secondary.
We have to see that what Prabhupada said, in which context he said, all these things we should see. But Prabhupada did give a lot of emphasis to book distribution. That's undeniably a fact. It's not like he did not give emphasis to book distribution.
Main thing ever.
And the other point is that the temples are meant to be maintained by book distribution. Here also, Bhakti Purushottam Maharaj says that till we started book distribution, Mayapur was going through so much of problem.
So there was no book distribution?
Before there was no this Sankirtan buses and things were not there before, long time before. And then that time Mayapur used to go through so much problem, he used to say. But the moment they started this Sankirtan and Sankirtan buses and going all the way, it becomes so much auspicious. Mayapur becomes so much auspicious. Okay, yeah.
If our congregation does not do any Sankirtan, our leader is only talking, giving class and doing Kirtan and Prasadam and go. No new devotees. Do you feel that if we introduce Sankirtan, it will make a magic?
See, the core formula which Mahaprabhu gave. See, generally we should understand that in this material world, we can either deliver quantity or we can deliver quality. Okay? We cannot deliver quantity and quality together. That's why you have some boutiques which deliver very high quality but very less quantity. Or you have mass production which delivers very high quantity but no class. There's no class. Like if you want to buy Hyundai or Toyota, you can get thousands of cars of Hyundai or Toyota. But if you want to buy something like an Aston Martin, it is like a handmade car. You will have very less number of cars because it's just so carefully made. It's not like made in a factory or something. So, just an example, in the material world also. In the material world, you can either deliver quantity or you can deliver quality. But the nature of spiritual world is that quantity and quality exist together because spiritual world is absolute. So their quantity and quality exist together. This is Tripad Vibhuti. This is Ekpad Vibhuti. So the major portion of the creation, quantity and quality exist together. In the material world, which is a very minor portion, either you can deliver quantity or you can deliver quality. When the Acharya comes from spiritual world to the material world, he comes with a plan of the spiritual world which can actually deliver quantity and quality together. Okay. So when we follow the core principle of that Acharya, then we will also have that kind of effect that we will be able to deliver quantity and quality together. When we don't follow, then either we can deliver quantity or we can deliver quality. So the core preaching strategy which Mahaprabhu brought in Kali Yuga is public kirtan, prasadam distribution and devotional literature. So out of which he did the first two. He did public kirtan and he did prasadam distribution. Like in Chaitanya Charitamrita, what these guys are doing, either they are doing kirtan or they are eating. Okay. They are not doing anything else. Just doing kirtan or eating.
They are discussing also, no, Bhagavatam.
Yeah, but mainly they are doing kirtan, that's part of kirtan. No? Discussing Bhagavatam is kirtan. Okay. Or then they are eating. Okay. So they are dancing, singing, doing kirtan, dancing and eating. Eating, dancing, eating. So then Mahaprabhu tells his followers like Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami to write devotional literature. Okay. So that is his core strategy. That book distribution, prasadam distribution and public harinam. That is his core strategy. And you see Prabhupada succeeded by the same core strategy. Okay, because that strategy delivers Krishna consciousness all over the world in Kali Yuga. Of course, we can make many strategies around this strategy, okay? But this should form our core preaching strategy because that's what given by the Supreme Lord. So we can form many strategies in outside layer to enhance this core strategy. That's possible. But this core strategy should be maintained. Then we will have good result.
What were the four? Kirtan, book distribution and devotional service?
Yeah, 3. Public kirtan, prasad distribution and book distribution. Okay, we should stop here. We'll continue tomorrow. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Ram Hare. Looks like we'll have a full class on Saturday, so please plan accordingly.